morning, class.
Good morning.
Do you know about brass instruments? Does anybody know what a brass instrument is? No? No clue? No whatsoever? Well, brass instruments are called brass instruments because they're actually made out of brass. How awesome is that, you know? We have various types. This one, for example, is made out of silver with a lacquer plating. That's what's, the shiny things that's on the outside. We even have instruments that are made out of partly gold. Some might have certain valve caps that are made out of gold for tuning purposes. Some might be full gold for the resonance. Depending on the material, you have all kinds of different sounds. Right now we have several types of brass instruments, as you can see up here. The most common ones are trombone, trumpet, as some of you guys may know, the French horn, and of course the tuba. But there's also various extensions of those families. Like, for example, for the trombone, we can have the bass trombone, which is also very common. There's also what's known as a soprani or a soprano trombone and an alto trombone. With the trumpet family, we have trumpet and cornet, also flugelhorn and natural trumpet, which is actually a valveless trumpet, and it originates in Britain, and it's more common in European countries. We also have the French horn, which is not considered to be part of the trumpet family, even though they're very similar. Their circular shape actually gives them the ability to have the longest tubing of any instrument. So the French horn is also known as the instrument that has the highest and the lowest pitch. We have the baritone horn and the euphonium, which are partly brothers. The only difference is that one is a conical and one is a cylindrical instrument. The difference between the two, euphonium is mostly used for concert-style bands for a broader, deeper sound. Baritone horn has more of a sharp and straight, direct forward sound. As you can see here, they're similar. The baritone horn is a little smaller, but that makes it sound sharper and a little more direct. Another part of that family is the tenor horn, which is rarely used. It's only used in certain concerts and orchestra performances. The tenor horn was mostly used back in the 1800s. Now the 1900s and the 21st century, we barely use those anymore because we have the baritone horn and the euphonium that actually replace it. And of course, tuba, which is the lowest sounding of the brass family, it can be a 3-valve, it can be 4-valve, as well as the euphonium and the baritone horn, allowing it to have an extended range below its original tessitura. All right, up here, we're going to learn how to clean these instruments. I have a trumpet here to give us an example. Brass instruments usually have either piston or rotary type valves. This one, which is a trumpet, as you guys can see, has a piston type valving. What we usually do for these is we have to replace the caps, as you guys can see here. You can take the caps off from the bottom, and we have to replace the valves from the top. So I will give you guys an example of that. If you pull up the valve, you can actually encompassate the body of the valve. And as you can see, it has the horns where the sound goes through to change the pitch. We also have different types of mouthpiece. Having different instruments, they require different types of mouthpieces. The size really matters. The bore, the rim, and the cup. The rim is the outside is this outside plate. The cup is the inside, or the space that it takes to accumulate. That helps the resonance of the instrument. There's also certain instruments use large shank or small shank. The shank is this long tubing area. Most instruments use large shanks. Those that use it are mostly euphonium and bass trombones to get a deeper sounding sound. The mouthpieces at the bottom are actually trumpet mouthpieces, which have a larger bore than French horn mouthpieces, as you can see. And then here in the middle we have a tube mouthpiece, which is of course the biggest mouthpiece out of the whole family. Here we have a system labeled out body system of the trumpet. This is the valve system, usually from left to right, starting on 1, 2, and 3. In case you ever take these off, they are labeled. So you should know that 1 always goes into 1, 2 goes into 2, and 3 goes into 3, and so forth. The mouthpiece goes placed into the lead pipe, which is the external entry. So whenever you have a mouthpiece that fits the instrument, it goes right into the lead pipe. Okay. The lead pipe leads on to the tuning slide. Usually, it is connected to the main tuning system. As soon as you get to the lead pipe, it goes directly into the main tuning system, allowing us to tune better in case we have an out of tune intonation. And this, similar to the trumpet, this is a cornet. It's a smaller version. The difference between cornet and trumpet is that the cornet is much smaller and inside. The trumpet is, of course, a little longer. And it also affects the sound. Cornet has more of a loud, broad, round sound, and the trumpet has more of that direct, straightforward sound. This is one of the rare instruments. This is one of the rare 4-valve euphonium with the compensating system at the bottom. The difference between this horn and all other horns is that instead of having 4 valves at the top, it actually has an extended outrange valve that goes through the back, and it's played with the left hand instead of the right hand, like all the others. And here we have a rotary system, which most tubas, French horns, and trumpets actually use. A lot of British instrumentations actually have a rotary type system, where instead of a piston, everything is coiled in through a string and allow the pitch to change by allowing the tunneling to alter connections. Lastly, we have the trombone, which is simply a long slide. You get pitches by extending the arm. The lower the pitch, the farther away you'll have. The higher the pitch, the closer up you'll have. And as you can see, trombone, euphoniums, and baritones actually share the same mouthpiece sizes. Here we have several parts. I'm not going to take this one apart, but when you get all the valves out, you actually do the inner cleaning. All these dirty parts, you have to be able to clean all of that off to try to get the slides to come in and out correctly. I'm not sure if that one will. And that's it. Thank you, class.